Since I'm still obsessed with the Delicious in Dungeon anime, today we'll be making these iconic mushroom guys from the show's intro. No matter how obsessed I am with an idea for a project, I'll sometimes completely forget I even had the idea. And then I'll have no clue what to work on next. So simple visual reminders like my mushroom guys note that you see here can be super helpful for me to get started on a new project. And to clarify, I can't just write myself a to-do list of multiple things either, because if it's more than like 2 things on the list, my brain will just rebel against it and decide it's way more work than it's worth. Brains are fun, aren't they? Anyways, now that my clay colors are ready, wait, what's this? A new reminder? It's time to eat! Turkey burgers are my current food hyper-focus, and my favorite toppings are cheddar cheese, pickles, cherry tomatoes, and iceberg lettuce. Oh, and mayo, mustard, and ketchup. Let me know in the comments what your favorite toppings are so that I can try them out. Since I don't actually have this little mushroom guy prop as a reference, my link Nendroid here is gonna help me with my mushroom guy measurements. That Laios Nendroid figure is so cute. After staring at his picture for so long, I almost regret not buying him and the rest of his crew. But honestly, I probably wouldn't photograph him much since I typically make mini foods, which my boy Senshi is perfect for, since he's the chef of the show. And because my printer ran out of ink, and I don't want to use my phone every time I want to look at a reference image of these guys, I'm just gonna draw one based on the measurements I just took. Here I'm making the first mushroom body. And as usual, I add some mineral oil to smooth it out and try to remove some of the dust that tends to be extra obvious on these lighter colored clays. Since the first body didn't come out quite right, I took a different approach for the second body. The only change being that I pinched the top half of the body to taper it out into a more proper mushroom shape. My approach to making legs and arms for noodly appendaged figures is typically this. I just roll out a noodle of clay, and then I cut it to the right size after it's been baked. And then I make some more legs because of course I'm making a bunch of these guys. With my mushroom body out of the oven, I sand it a bit to get rid of some of the dust and uneven spots. I pencil in where I want the leg holes to be, and then I use a metal file and an X-Acto knife to drill out the holes. But then I remember I have a Dremel, so I should use it. So I ended up dremeling the leg holes for most of these guys. After making the leg holes, I check to see if the legs fit into them, and then I cut the legs to roughly the right size. And then I wondered to myself, should I give him regular legs or monstrously long legs? But I decided to be reasonable this time. After adding clay glue to the leg holes, I attach the legs and clean up the holes before baking. I also go back and add more clay to any gaps in the leg holes after baking them once first. After baking the legs into the leg holes, I trim them down to their proper size. Next up are the mushroom caps. First, I make a coin-like shape for the base of the cap, and then a smaller coin-like shape for the top. And I attach them together with a metal sculpting tool and smooth it out with my pointy silicone tool. This is my bag of Nendroid hands, which will be helping me to make the signature punch mark on some of my mushroom guys' heads. Let's see, do I have any punching hands? Nope, that's a pointing hand. Ah, here we go. So I'm gonna put some plastic wrap over this fist so it doesn't get stained with red clay. Since the plastic wrap left some marks in the clay, I clean those up with some mineral oil and a ballpoint tool. Then, similar to the cap, for the feet I add 2 red coins on first, and then 2 smaller coins below those. And after baking them once, I add some more red clay to unify the 2 coins into one cohesive piece. And these are the feet after I've cleaned them up. Since I don't want to have to make the feet from scratch every time, and since they're actually a nice size and shape for mold making, I decided to make a few molds of the feet to speed things up. This stuff is called siligum. It's a two-part silicone-based mold. You combine it in equal parts and then wait about 10 minutes for it to solidify. And here I'm using my daughter's signature mold making move, which is punching the mold over the clay. Believe it or not, this works pretty consistently and better than anything else I've tried. So thank you, honey. After removing the feet templates from the molds, I add some raw clay to them, and I use one of my mushroom guy's legs to add indents in the tops of the feet. This will make it much easier to attach the feet to the legs after baking. With the feet baked, I attach them to the legs and then add a sliver of cream-colored clay to the top of each foot, which I just learned in mushroom anatomy is called the gills of the mushroom. Then I'm careful not to make the gill grooves too deep, or else I risk turning them into trypophobia nightmare fuel. After baking the mushroom cap, I outline it with an X-Acto knife where I need to trim the cap to fit it to the body. And then I carefully cut along that line, trying not to cut all the way to the other side of the cap. I check to see how it fits over the mushroom body, and it looks good. I check my reference image for the main body's gill lines, and then X-Acto them in. But since these came out kind of rough, for the rest of the mushroom guys, I added the lines into the raw clay instead. And as you can see, that's much faster and cleaner. With some clay glue and some raw red clay, I attach the cap to the body. And then I smooth everything out with my pointy silicone tool. To even out the color of the body and cover up some of the dust embedded in the clay, I dry brush the body with a cream acrylic paint. And then, to clean up the edges between the red and cream clay, I paint the underside of the cap red. To match the red paint of the underside, I also dry brush the top. And I do the same for the feet. Unexpectedly, my favorite part of this project was adding the spots to their heads. It was fun and relaxing to randomly decide where the spots should go and what sizes they should be, so that each of these guys is unique. And as usual, the last step before our photo shoot is varnish. For the bodies, I used a matte varnish, and for the caps and feet, I used a satin varnish to give them a bit more shine than the bodies. After drying overnight, these babies are done. And these babies, I couldn't help but make a shiny variant. They're so cute. But you know what's even cuter? These actual babies. Oh my goodness, I love them so much. Okay, now we're ready for our photo shoot. Oh wait, this just in. My daughter says I need to make a mushroom lady with blush, high heels, and most importantly, a booty crack. So let's do that real quick. After shaping the mushroom body, I gently add the booty crack in with my needle tool, and then I make sure to moisturize it with mineral oil. And the booty mushrooms are done. Look at them and their cutie booties. Alright, time for our photo shoot, for real this time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, where I'll be showing you how I made the flickering LED torches on this diorama wall.